Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and buckle up because today we're diving headfirst into the wild world of phishing attacks. We're talking about those sneaky tactics hackers use to swipe your precious passwords and leave your digital life in shambles. Now you might be thinking, I'm pretty tech savvy, I know better than to fall for that stuff. But trust me guys, phishing attacks are getting more sophisticated by the day. We're not talking about those dodgy emails from a Nigerian prince anymore. These attackers are crafting convincing emails, websites, and even text messages that could fool even the most vigilant user. So, whether you're a seasoned techie or just starting to dip your toes into the online world, this video is for you. We'll break down exactly how these attacks work, the psychology behind them, and most importantly, how you can protect yourself. Let's do this. Alright, so let's get down to brass tacks. How do these attackers actually get their grubby little hands on your passwords? Well, there are a few ways they can pull it off. First up, we've got the classic phishing email. You know the drill, you get an email that looks super official, maybe it's from your bank, your social media platform, or even your dear old grandma. But here's the catch, it's a fake. The attackers are trying to trick you into clicking a malicious link or downloading an infected attachment. And speaking of malicious links, that brings us to our next method, malicious websites. These sites are designed to mimic legitimate websites, like your online banking portal or a shopping site. They might look identical to the real deal, but their true purpose is to steal your login credentials. Now let's talk about keylogging. This is where things get a little more insidious. Keyloggers are programs that secretly record every keystroke you make on your keyboard, including your passwords, credit card numbers, and other sensitive information. They can be installed through malicious links, infected files, or even hidden on compromised websites. And then we have social engineering. This is all about manipulating people into giving up their information willingly. Think of it like the art of persuasion, but with malicious intent. Attackers might use phishing emails, phone calls, or even direct messages on social media to trick you into revealing your passwords or other sensitive data. Okay, so we've talked about the technical side of things, but what about the psychology behind these attacks? Because let's face it, phishing works because it plays on our emotions and instincts. One of the most common tactics is to create a sense of urgency or fear. You might get an email saying your account has been compromised and you need to act fast to secure it. Or maybe you receive a message that looks like it's from a friend or family member who's in trouble and needs your help immediately. Another tactic is to prey on our trust and authority. Phishing emails often impersonate legitimate organizations or individuals, like your bank, your boss, or even a government agency. They use official logos, language, and even email addresses to make their messages seem more convincing. And then there's the good old-fashioned appeal to greed or curiosity. You might receive an email promising you a free gift, a discount on a product you've been eyeing, or access to exclusive content. These offers are designed to be tempting, making you more likely to let your guard down and click on that malicious link. The key takeaway here is that attackers are masters of manipulation. They know how to push our buttons and exploit our weaknesses to get what they want. But by understanding the psychological tactics they use, we can be better prepared to spot and avoid their traps. Alright folks, time to roll up our sleeves and get a little hands-on. In this chapter, we're going to walk through setting up a safe and controlled environment to test out phishing attacks. Don't worry, it's all above board and completely legal. We're doing this to learn, right? First things first, you'll need a dedicated system. This could be an old computer, a virtual machine, or even a spare laptop. The key is to keep it isolated from your main system and any sensitive data. Next up, make sure your testing environment is fully updated. We're talking operating system updates, browser updates, the whole 9 yards. This is crucial because we want to mimic a real-world scenario as closely as possible. Now, for the fun part, tools. There are some fantastic open-source tools out there that can help us simulate phishing attacks. One of my favorites is the Social Engineering Toolkit, or SET. It's a powerful tool that lets you create convincing phishing pages, fake emails, and even capture login credentials. Once you've got set up and running, you can start exploring its different modules. You can create custom phishing pages that mimic popular websites, craft emails with malicious links, and even set up fake Wi-Fi access points to capture login credentials. Let's dive into the art of website cloning, a critical skill for any aspiring ethical hacker. Don't worry, we're not talking about some complex matrix-level coding here. With the right tools and a little know-how, you'd be surprised how easy it can be. The goal here is to create a mirror image of a legitimate website, So convincing that even a seasoned internet user might be fooled. We're talking identical layouts, fonts, images, the whole shebang. Now there are a few ways to clone a website. One option is to use a web scraping tool. These tools allow you to download the entire HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code of a website, essentially capturing its entire structure and design. Once you've got the code, you can then host it on your own server or web hosting account. Of course, you'll need to make some modifications to the code, like changing the login form to send captured credentials to your server instead of the legitimate site. And here's where things get really interesting: credential harvesters. These are scripts that you can embed in your cloned website's login form. When a victim enters their username and password, the credential harvester silently sends that information to your server. But remember, folks, we're the good guys here. We're learning these techniques to better understand how attackers operate and how to protect ourselves. So, once you've finished experimenting with your cloned website, make sure to take it down responsibly. Alright, let's talk about those sneaky links. You know, the ones that look totally legit but actually lead you straight into a digital trap? Attackers have gotten really good at disguising malicious links, but today we're going to pull back the curtain and expose their tricks. One of the most common techniques is URL masking. This is where attackers use a technique called URL redirection to hide the true destination of a link. They might use a URL shortener service or even embed the redirection code directly into the link itself. Another sneaky tactic is to use a domain name that looks very similar to a legitimate domain. For example, they might replace a letter with a similar-looking number, like using a 0 instead of the letter O, or they might register a domain name that's just one letter off from a well-known brand. And then we have tools like Facade1ng. This clever little tool allows attackers to inject a fake website preview into a link. So, when you hover over the link, you'll see a preview of what looks like a safe website, but when you click on it, you're actually taken to a malicious site. The key takeaway here is to never trust a link blindly, even if it looks like it's from a trusted source. Always hover over links to check their true destination, and be wary of any URLs that look suspicious or unfamiliar. Alright folks, it's time to arm ourselves with the knowledge and tools we need to fight back against these phishing fiends. Let's talk about how to protect ourselves and keep our digital lives safe. First and foremost, always be wary of unsolicited emails, messages, or phone calls asking for your personal information. Remember, legitimate organizations will never ask for your passwords or other sensitive data through these channels. When it comes to emails, pay close attention to the sender's address. Does it match the organization they claim to represent? Look for any misspellings, grammatical errors, or suspicious characters in the email address. And if you're ever unsure, it's always best to contact the organization directly through their official website or phone number. Now, let's talk about passwords. I know, it's a pain to remember a million different passwords, but trust me, it's crucial to use strong, unique passwords for all your important accounts. And please, for the love of all that is digital, don't use the same password for multiple accounts. One of the best ways to protect yourself is to enable two-factor authentication whenever possible. This adds an extra layer of security to your accounts by requiring you to enter a unique code from your phone or email in addition to your password. We've covered a lot of ground, from the technical aspects of phishing attacks to the psychological tricks attackers use. But there's one crucial element we haven't fully addressed yet: the human factor. You see, no matter how sophisticated our security software or how complex our passwords, humans are often the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain. We're emotional creatures, prone to distractions, and sometimes we just make mistakes. Attackers know this, and they exploit it ruthlessly. They prey on our emotions, our trust, and our desire for convenience. They craft convincing narratives, create a sense of urgency, and use social pressure to manipulate us into letting our guard down. So, how do we combat this? How do we strengthen our human firewall and become more resilient to these attacks? It all starts with awareness. By understanding the tactics attackers use and the psychological principles they exploit, we can be more vigilant and less likely to fall for their traps. But awareness alone isn't enough. We also need to cultivate healthy cybersecurity habits. This means being cautious about the links we click, the attachments we open, and the information we share online. It means taking the time to verify requests for personal information and being skeptical of offers that seem too good to be true. And there you have it, folks. We've journeyed into the depths of phishing attacks, exposed their secrets, and armed ourselves with the knowledge to fight back. Remember, staying safe online is an ongoing process. It's about staying informed, being cautious, and always questioning what you see online. Don't let these cybercriminals win. Share this video with your friends, family, and anyone who might benefit from a little cybersecurity wisdom. Let's work together to create a safer, more secure online world. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe online, and remember, always verify before you click. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content.